Good afternoon, happy Savage Saturday, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and we are here with another Savage Saturday comic review episode, the big 100. So we've gone 100 episodes, and we are going to go back to the Savage Sword of Conan once again for an epic tale. This one a little darker than some of the ones we've had before, which is really up my alley. And but I'm going to go back to half and half of what I used to do, what I do now. So I'm going to be showing you the book as I read it, but I'll also put some pictures over there. And you guys let me know if this amalgamation works or which form you like. But either way, we're going to try something and we're going to see how it goes. Now, this issue has cover art by Joe Jusko. And this cover of his is just, it's just okay to me. I don't like the Conan's face just doesn't look right to me. That sneer just doesn't fit. Obviously a fantastic artist, and but it is what it is. For some reason, this one just doesn't speak to me, but a great story on the inside. So, the story that we're talking about is called Autumn of the Witch. It's written by Don Carr, with art by Mike Dougherty, and inks by Freya Bader. And this is a fun little story. It's a little, it takes up most of the issue, and there's a backup called the Conqueror feature. But I think this one reads pretty quick, but it's not the worst for it. It's just a really fun, fast tale. And this is a story of Conan when he was a mercenary and a sellsword, and his want and need of money and funds put him in a pretty bad spot, which he is lucky to get out of. But that's enough of a tease. Let's get into it. And the Autumn of the Witch. And right away you have Conan pulling up. He can see a castle, but he's got to get across to it. So he's got to get to the river, and the ferryman will take him across. So great splash page there. And we'll put a picture of it on the other side. So we're already getting the story set up. And he's trying to reach the castle before Lady Vitalia is put to death. And these farmers are telling him, and shepherds are telling him that he better get there quick because they're really looking forward to her death. But he wants to keep her alive. That's where his payday is. So our scene switches, and we have a really sad-looking Vitalia with the king telling her the penalty for witchcraft is death. And she's like, you've made that much clear. And there's a bunch of soldiers there with spears pointed at her. So they don't trust her. They think she's a witch, and that they have to be on guard at all times. And the sun has come up, and according to their ritual, no champion has arrived to defend her. So their only option to try her now is to torture her. And her mistress, her servant is begging him to wait just a few more minutes. That word was sent at dawn, and word was sent out, and her champion should be there soon. And the king's telling her that he admires her loyalty, but the laws are the laws, and he can only bend them so far. It doesn't matter who it is. And then you have three brothers over here that have condemned her as a witch. And a guy named Caractacus, and I can't think of the other two guys' names now. But they say that she killed and withered their brother into a corpse so she could have possession of everything he had. And she's defying them, saying, I've already sworn my innocence. Give my knight a little more time. He'll prove it. And the king's like, Vitalia, I know how evil can be concealed by beauty in the appearance of virtue. Only trial by combat or torture can reveal the truth. And just as they're about to torture her, her servant says, look, your majesty, the ferry, it must be our knight. And Conan leaps off the ferry in dramatic fashion with the horse, lands on land, and is up to represent Vitalia in combat to prove her innocence. And she says, this couldn't be the knight I sent for. He's a barbarian. And Conan's like, Hey, you've got keen eyesight as well as beauty, Lady Vitalia. That is who you are, isn't it? Make up your mind. She's like, yes, yes, I'm Vitalia. I prefer a barbarian champion to no champion at all. But we'll give you a look at these other 2 pages, which are setting it up. And, you know, good art by Mike Doherty there. Telling the story well. So you got the other brothers, Orbit and Barak, and they're trying to think of a way to just be able to torture her to death because they want her gone, and they're coming across really vehemently for her head. They want her dead, and you're kind of getting the feel that these guys are scheming for something. And Conan's like, I didn't come here for nothing. I'll defend you if you make it worth my while. She's like, all that I own is yours by law if you can save me. But who are you? What happened to the knight I sent for? And he's like, I'm Conan the Cimmerian. Your knight couldn't make it, so I came in his place. And they have the right of single combat. So the combat is joined. The king makes the decision, and oh, they had to make his name so long. Let's see. Caractacus. Caractacus steps forward to fight Conan. And we'll show you that page before they do. With the debating going on. So, good art, good storytelling. It's fun. The setup's really well. And then you have the 2 facing off. And the brothers are telling Caractacus to be careful, that Conan has dangerous eyes. And they think that there's more to him than they believe. And Vitalia has no idea who Conan is. And she's just hoping that he can defend her. And they have rules set up. So these 2 combatants must stay in a ring. If at any time either one of them exits the ring, they can be slain by the king's knights that are encircling it. The king strikes a shield and says, let the combat begin. And a couple people are warning Conan that Caractacus has never lost in a fight. Conan is not impressed with the knowledge. Alright, so they join the battle, and you got 2 pages of them going back and forth and swearing at each other. And it's a pretty elongated fight, and it's a good one. It's showing that Conan just doesn't come in and completely dominate everyone he comes against. Caractacus is a good fighter, and he is putting a test to Conan's skills, although Conan isn't quite sweating it. Kind of seems like Conan's having a bit more fun. And as the battle progresses, you get 2 more pages of them fighting with the crowd hanging on who's going to win, who's going to lose. And Conan over here finally breaks his the other guy's sword with his axe. And he's and the boasting and the teasing's going back and forth. Like, I'll stand on your dead body, Cimmerian. He goes, you'd have to kill me first. And he says he first learned how to wield the axe before the sword when he was a youth. And they're going through the final battle. Conan just strikes him in the arm and nearly cuts it off. And Conan's telling him, in Brithunia, we learned to use the axe before the sword. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the guy, that's Caractacus. And Conan tells him, you learned wrong. And Caractacus is just shocked. He's like, you could have taken my arm off with that swing. He goes, I should have. Your chainmail is sturdy. He goes, well, what's it going to be, nobleman? Will you yield or die? And everybody's telling him to die. Because now that he's lost, their land is forfeit to Conan. All he has to do is seize it. So if he can seize it, the land is his. So the laws are a little iffy with that, right? So, yeah, you can win the land and have the right to fight for it and usurp it, but you have to go fight for it. And Conan goes over to Vitalia. He says, your trial is over. You won't be accused of witchcraft now. And she's like, you saved me from humiliation and agony. All that I have is yours, Conan. And look, the king's head was waiting for you. They would have burned you by your husband's body. And you see the body down there. And so the events are now set in place. For as they part, the brothers swear that this isn't over and that they will have her head. And the brothers have these magic talismans they're wearing to protect themselves from her spells, is what they're saying. And they still think that their brother was killed by her. And you're starting to get the sense that they really believe this. And at first you thought they're going for land. Now you're trying to get it. Now you're starting to get a different feeling. And Conan says, you forfeited your lands in your honor. Leave before you forfeit your lives. Because Conan is just getting tired of them. So the three brothers leave, and Caractacus says, remember, Vitellia, matters aren't finished between us. And Conan says, they're defiant for men who've just lost their lands to the crown. And Vitellia interprets the rules a little clearer for Conan. She says, it's not that simple, Conan. They haven't forfeited anything. And one of her other charges says, according to Perthunian law, you have the right to seize their property, but it's strictly up to you to collect. That could be fatal. All right, so Vitellia has two people in service of her, a woman and the wizardy-looking guy below. And the fun thing about this story is people just aren't, they don't fit the molds that you think they're going to fit, right? Everything is not as it seems with this story. And Don Carr did a great job with it. All right, then we have a great page here. And it's the three brothers talking. They're still plotting revenge. They no longer care about land. They're talking as if she really is a witch. And they truly believe that she killed their brother. And they just are out for blood. They want vengeance. And now killing Conan is part of that vengeance. You have the one brother who's gentle, says he doesn't have the stomach for combat. And he just wants Vitellia out of the picture. So, at the castle, Conan is speaking to Harafa, who is he takes care of the estate and everything for Vitellia, and he seems a decent fellow. And Conan has him take an inventory of everything that he's now taken over from Vitellia, and he's telling him. 500 bushels of wheat, 20 casks of wine, 12 oxen, 50 cows, 2 bulls, 14 calves. And Conan's like, and not a single coin in the treasury? He goes, I've heard enough. And Conan accuses him of skimming off the profits. And, you know, Harafa says, why should I bother to deny it? Come to the window and I'll show you why. And when he goes to the window, Harafa shows him the people down there working. He's like, look at them, Conan. They spend their lives in drudgery. My late master and his brothers would have let them starve. Barak would have fed them, but he's the youngest and he probably would have never inherited the estate. So he was taking the money and feeding the citizens of this town. And Conan's like, I see. And Conan's starting to get more of a respect for him. He was like, and he says, there's such a larceny in you, Harafa. That's what I like about you. And Harafa says, so my choice meets your approval? And he's like, hey. And now they're off to the auction to auction off this estate because that's the only way Conan's going to get coin from it. And Vitellia enters and she has a guard with her and she tells the one guard, Baldar, to depart. He goes, if you insist, my lady, but he's got an evil glare in his eye. And she tells him, yes, I insist. Now go. Don't let me catch you listening at the door. And Conan, in his true fashion, is like, you heard her, didn't you? And he's like, hey, my lord. I'll give you a quick look at this page. These pages. And before we move on here. So, she's trying to convince Conan if there's anything that he could do besides sell it. And Conan, he's not really being greedy. He's like, look, I'm going to sell it. He goes, I'm going to make sure you get money and Harafa get money from the sale. Conan's not looking to take it all for himself. And Conan's talking to Harafa. He goes, I've seen more than my share of sorcery, but she's the last woman I'd ever take for a witch. And Harafa is telling him, my late master and his kingmen would have agreed with you once. They all desired her, but she married the eldest brother. I saw him die with my own eyes, but I still don't know the truth. No one really knows Vitellia. She's as elusive as a Stygian shadow. In Conan's world, it is never good to be compared to a Stygian. All right, so he is still talking, and her lady in waiting comes in and said, Conan, forgive my intrusion, but the king's tax collectors are here, and they're there demanding gold, and the king's tax collectors are there for another reason. They're there because if they can't pay, they want to seize the property and all its assets for themselves, and just more like political stuff going on. And Conan's already mad. He's like, gold, I'll confiscate their heads. They won't confiscate any of this. And once he gets out there, he sees Vitellia talking to them. And Conan's just getting madder by the step. So once he reaches in, he grabs them up, and he's not listening to any of their foolishness. And in a fit of Cimmerian rage, he tosses them all into the moat. And a nice, funny picture of him carrying that guy by the belt. And then we start to see a different side of Vitellia here. She tells Conan to wait, and he's like, what now? And she brings over the guy's head that Conan has by the belt and places it on his head. And she's like, let's not be too hasty with the king's servant. He forgot something. We don't want anything that doesn't belong to us, do we? And then Conan tosses him over. And then you see the guy that she sent away, the guard, Balder, he's watching. And he can see that Conan is taking a liking to her. And she is seducing Conan. So Conan takes her to the bedchamber. And as they're taking care of their business, Balder goes and is along a secret passage. His destination, of course, is the brothers, and he says now is the time to go and kill Conan and get Vitellia because they're engaged in making love. And oy vey. So they're engaged in making love, and now is the time to catch him unarmed and her unawares. Oh, that's better. And so they're off. But Conan hears their steps way before they even arrive. And as they burst through the door, Conan's almost ready for them. And he grabs a sword and he's at it, killing some of their guards in the process. And just great stuff. And now Conan is fully just gone now. He's like, try harder, Berthunian, and he's in his rage. Caractacus is telling Balder to take him, and Conan kills him, and they're across, and like, you won't be the first to fall before my blade. And Conan's like, you flatter yourself, and he throws fire into the guy's face. And he tells Caractacus that they're there to finish their business. And I misspoke. Caractacus, why can't I say this dude's name? He showed up with his guards without the other two brothers. So him and Conan get in a fight, and Conan slices him and kills him with a deadly stroke across the neck. See, I was speaking all smooth, then my throat got dry, and now I'm all over the place. Now, the one guard is still holding her by the head of the hair, and he's threatening to slit her throat, but she bites him, and Conan says, Vitellia, get down, and Conan throws himself forward and slices the guy's head clean off. When Harafa arrives, like, by the sons of Shem, it looks like a slaughterhouse in here. What happened? And Conan just very calmly says, some rats got into the castle, Harafa, but they came to a bad end. And Caractacus is still alive a little bit. He hasn't quite died. And he's trying to give Conan a message. He's like, congratulations, Cimmerian. Another victory. You saved a defenseless woman. At least that's what you think. But when you've outlived your usefulness, she'll see that you died the same way my brother did. He goes, see, Vitellia, your magic didn't work on me. The talisman protected me. And then he dies from his wounds from Conan. But he died a natural death. He was scared of dying an unnatural death. So those guys, he tells Harafa to clean up the mess, and he retires with Vitellia. So quite a lot of brutality in this story. A lot of killing and a lot going on behind the scenes. And Conan and Harafa ride out. They're going to tell the brothers that they killed Caractacus because he attacked Conan. And then you get a scene with Vitalia and her lady in waiting, and she's like, the lady in waiting's like, do you think Conan can dispose of Orban and Brack once and for all, my lady? And she's like, one can hope, and if not, there are other ways to deal with them when the stars are right. And then that's starting to really give you an inkling. And she says, and when Orin and Brack have joined their brothers, what then? She goes, then it'll just be like Caractacus said, Conan will have outlived his usefulness. And Mike Dougherty does a good job of just putting a little evil in her eyes. And so we'll show you that real quick. So there you go, a little evil in her eyes down there. And she is already plotting. She is not a good person, as we're coming to see. We thought, she was wrongly accused. And good on them for switching it up and actually making her a witch. And Conan's arriving, and the brothers are there, and they see the brother's body on Conan's mount. And they're like, tell us how it happened. And Conan tells them, your brother tried to murder me last night. He brought 3 men with him. They didn't fare any better than he did. And one of the brothers says, I want to know the truth, Harafa. And Harafa says, I witnessed the end of it. Caractacus died from the wound in his throat, not from sorcery. And the gentle brother says, I told him I wanted no part of blind vengeance. And the other brother's like, well, I have 2 brothers to avenge now. And Conan's like, you're welcome to try. And the other guy had already threatened him with his falcon. And Conan's like, but before I shove that falcon down your throat, you listen. Because Conan isn't intimidated by the bird. Nor would we expect him to be. All right. So once the page turns, Conan says what he's there to say. I've come here to claim the land you forfeited to me. Be gone by dawn tomorrow, or you'll end up like your brother. You understand? And the one brother that has the fight in him says, we hear you, Cimmerian, but you won't speak such bold words when my pretty tears your throat out. And he's talking about the falcon. When Conan, as soon as the guy finishes the sentence, has the sword at his throat, like, keep still, or we'll find out if this talisman really protects your life. And the brother says, no filthy barbarian cur is going to order me off my land. Seeing you die will be a pleasure. And they're fighting. And Conan cuts the pendant off him. And instead of the falcon attacking Conan, it attacks its owner and kills him on the spot, tearing his throat out, seemingly ensorcelled to kill him and not Conan. So we have another brother's death. We now have 3 of the 4 brothers dead. The one was dead at the beginning of the story, the brother that she had married, and 2 others have followed suit. But there are strange things that happen. As soon as the pendant is severed and the falcon attacked him, he starts to wither before Conan's face. He takes on the form of a mummy-looking corpse. And the last brother says, my brothers are the warriors. I looked up to them, but I was never quite their equal. But if I can rid the earth of Italia, then maybe I will. And Conan's like, you'll have to get through me to do that, Barak. I don't know what the magician's curse killed your brothers, but I'll find out in my own way. And Conan is talking to Harafa on the way out. He's like, the young one's not like the others, is he, Harafa? He's like, not as much as he tried to be. Vitalia won his heart first. He never got over it when she married the eldest brother instead. And it goes back to Brack, the brothers. Like, Vitalia, you've given me 3 reasons to take vengeance, no matter what else I ever felt. And we are back with Conan and them, and he's telling the people to just pay. As at the harvest fair, and they're auctioning the estate off. So just a little quick panel that was still continuing the story. And you see over here just the gruesome demise of the one brother after he lost his pendant. And he was just drained instantly and mummified. So as they're making their way back from the fair, and they're going through the woods, Harafa says, Conan, there are horsemen on our left. And Conan's like, you just noticed? I've known for the last league. And Conan's ready to fight. But Barak, having some honor, goes out in front of Conan in the pass. Goes, Cimmerian, I'll give you a chance to ride away from all this. Because Barak is actually a decent man. He's not looking to kill or harm Conan. He just wants vengeance for his brother's death. And Conan's like, let's hear it. He goes, you can take whatever you want, barbarian, but leave Vitalia to me. She has to answer for my brother's death. And Conan tells him, right on, Barak. I don't want your blood on my sword too. Because Conan doesn't want to kill him. Conan has actually respect for this brother. And Barak says, Vitalia must die even if I must kill you first. So they engage in battle. Swords drawn. Horses racing towards one another. But this brother is obviously not a fighter. And Conan cuts him down with a single stroke while he's on horse. And when the brother falls, he tells the men that are with him, he goes, stay out of it, all of you. When I'm dead, let the Cimmerian ride on. Because he knows the Cimmerian is kind of bewitched just like they were. And he goes, do you think you're safe from her, Conan? Did she tell you she loved you? Lies. I know. She said she loved me once, and I waited to believe her. And he says, here, protect yourself while you still can. Someone has to deal with her. It's up to you now. And he gives Conan his talisman, but as soon as he does, he tells him, wear it or share my fate, and he's already started decaying in front of Conan. So Conan is starting to come to his senses about a few things. And Harafa says, by the sons of Shem, destiny itself is warning you, Conan. And Conan's like, hey, there's no denying my eyes and my ears. And Harafa's like, he was the best of them, Conan. Don't ignore his words. And Conan says, I'll be on my guard until I learn the truth. If Vitalia is a witch, she won't escape. When they get back to the castle, Vitalia is already planning Conan's demise. She is getting a royal message out because they were invited to a party there. And she reseals it to hand it to Conan. But we'll get to them reading it and to the other brother's death. And you can see him mummifying and, another unfortunate demise. So when she seals this, she goes, this may be useful after all. There's no time to invoke a new spell to snare Conan. But all I need is this thorn, and he'll fall prey to the old one. He'll never see it in the wax after I reseal it. So she reseals it. When she hands it to Conan, he just tosses it aside, never touching the wax. And Harafa picks it up. He goes, it's best for us to know what it is, Conan, if we want to get across the border with the gold. The king's tax collectors may already be after us. And she's like, no, Harafa, don't touch it, because she wants Conan to touch it. And but Conan's still trying to get some info out of her. He's like, Orban and Barak are dead, Vitalia, slain by the same kind of sorcery that killed your husband. This can wait. And he tells her, I watched them die. With their last breath, they accused you of murdering them. Tell me it isn't true. Convince me. But as this is happening, Harafa gets pricked by the thorn, and he doesn't have a portisman. He doesn't have a talisman to protect him. And like the brothers, he withers and dies in front of Conan's face. And while Conan is looking at Harafa, Vitalia starts to change. So, quite the gruesome change. Her true colors are now fully on display and out. And she's like, do you think you can keep me at bay with that sword for long, barbarian? You'll meet the same fate that all the others have for centuries. He's like, I don't need a sword. I could kill you with my bare hands, but I'm going to deliver you to the king instead. And he's like, look, Barak gave it to me before he died. It'll buy me all the time I need. And he's wearing the pendant, the talisman. Her chambermaid attacks him from behind. She's like, your precious trinket won't protect you now. And she tears it off him. And Conan tosses her, and she dies at the edge of the steps, and the witch goes to attack Conan. She's like, Aigen, which is her maid's name. You've slain my apprentice. You'll pay for her blood with your own. I just need one drop of yours. And they tumble down the steps in battle. Conan takes a leap, grabs the talisman, and kicks away Vitalia. He's like, the best talisman against magic is still a hard yard of edged iron. He goes, I do not fear your witchcraft. And we see Conan here at the end with the talisman, and you see the battle. And just a lot going on. This story had a lot of story and action as well, so it was a great balance. So she goes, then you're a fool like all the others if you think your sword or that bauble can stop me from tearing your heart out. He goes, I don't need either one. And as she gets close, he just decks her. He goes, when I've got a good right arm, and she's out cold on the ground. He says, no law of chivalry protects a witch. No law at all. And he brings her to the king. And the king's like, who dares to intrude on this feast? He goes, 2 of your invited guests, your majesty. You'll forgive our late arrival when you've learned the facts. And one of the guys says, it's the Lady of Italia, and they can see her over the shoulder. And the barbarian who defended her in single combat. And Conan says, you have many laws in your realm, and strict penalties for those who violate them. He goes, the penalty for witchcraft is death. 5 men are dead because of her. I watched 3 of them die from her sorcery myself. I'll stand as her accuser in trial by combat. And she gets up again, and she's going to attack, but they have her surrounded. And then at dawn, shoot, they chop her head off, and she is beheaded, and you think killed for sure. And they're saying, cast her body into the flames. Not one of us is safe as long as anything remains of her. And Conan's like, I can still hear her laughter echoing, and her body, her headless body rises, and it's about to charge Conan. So her evil sorcery is still not done. Even headless, she is pursuing the barbarian. You can just see the different change in her. She is full witch now. As she gets close, she's telling Conan, come, my love, let me embrace you. He goes, hey, Vitalia, feel my last embrace. And he runs her through with his sword. And she finally collapses in the flames and burns up. And Conan is shown at the end riding off, saying, these Brythunians can keep their land, their gold, and their witchcraft. I'll ride clear of this country before the winter snows. And Conan's had enough. He's almost died a couple of times. He was in a battle to defend what he thought was a fair maiden, only to find out that he had defended a witch who almost killed him, as well as all the brothers. And just a twisted tale with a touch of horror in it from Don Krar. The story, I'm going to give an A+. Like, that story is a lot of fun to read. You got Conan trying to be chivalrous and stand up for a woman, only to find out that his chivalry got him in hot water, as well as his mercenary tendencies, because he needs to make a living. And his best way to do that is by the sword. So, a great issue. Some great points on Conan. Of course, he's triumphant in the end. And like most of his tales, he's got a little bit of luck, but a lot of his skills and his observations save his life. And again, he's triumphant. He's come across sorcery once more. He still has no taste for it, and he rides off in disgust, trying to put as much distance between him and witchcraft and sorcery as he can. Like I said, A+ story. Art, we'll give a B+. Mike Dockery does a decent job. Nobody's John Buscema. That's a high bar to set. So, B+ for the art. And just good storytelling, great pacing, and a fun tale. And we'll give you a little look at the back cover here by Ray Garcia, who did a little art piece for it. Nice black and white piece. Beautiful, beautiful. And that's it for this week, guys. Savage Saturday Comic Review 100 down. So, a lot of fun. Thanks for sticking around for 100 episodes, and we're going to keep doing more. Until next time, keep it casual. Attention all, use channel sponsor Rogue Trader at theroguetraderutah.com and my code KEEPITCASUAL for 10% off your comic cleaning and pressing needs. Remember, when submitting your books to be graded, use a trusted professional.